but I want to talk to you about the connection between LIPC, Long Island Progressive Coalition, and union work, and how LIPC got started.
LIPC got started basically at the initiative of two unions, the Communication Workers of America and the International Association of Machinists, under the leadership of William Wimpesinger. And it was back in 1979, and it was determined that labor and community organizers should be working together on Long Island. We had an enormous rally on Route 110 in a big building with hundreds and hundreds of people, and we saw that we had the makings of an ongoing organization, and the fact that it was community people working with labor gave us both the resources but also the legitimacy. Because the one thing about unions is they have a membership that sticks. That's the members. They're not going anywhere. And the leaders are accountable to that membership and there are certain very specific expectations, whether it's about a contract or it's about what's going on the shop floor. So union leaders have a particular accountability with their members. And the members own the union. The unions are not funded by philanthropies or grants. They're funded by their members. That's a very good lesson, and that's one of the reasons why I agree with you that when you work in a union and you do organizing within your union, whether it's as a rank and file member or holding some office, it's a very good training, because you can't have a separation between the leaders and the rank and file, which means you constantly have to be, your life is like a focus group. You are always engaging in conversations to sense where the members are at, what are the problems, what solutions do they think are feasible, what don't they like, because if you don't listen, you're gonna be out and you're gonna have a disaffected membership, and that's something unions cannot afford to do. So to me, that's premier training. And one of the sayings in union work, there are two sayings that have always stuck with me. One is one-on-one, having those individual conversations. And when you're a union leader, especially at the local level, that's what you're doing. You're having those conversations all the time, and you have to adjust what you say and you do, and you have to be authoritative. You have to know your facts. The other one that I also love is the saying, 1 + 1 = 3.
Oh.
1 + 1 = 3, because when people come together to work together, the result is much, much more than each of them could have done on their own. And that feeling when you see that working together we produce something bigger, to me is a tremendous motivator, and it helps you get through the bad times and it motivates you for the good times. So those lessons we got working with labor, there could be disagreements on various issues, but there was agreement about keeping the priorities of working people front and center at all times, and also an awareness of the importance of politics, of being engaged, of holding elected officials their feet to the fire, of getting involved in campaigns, but getting involved visibly as unions, so that those elected understood why you were elected. It was because all those union people were at the phone banks, all those union people were going door to door. And I think that model of really paying attention to your base, your members, your community, that's key. And that's something that always motivated us in those early days in the LIPC, was doing organizing, being out there with a flyer, being at the railroad stations, being at the Hempstead bus terminal, great conversations at the Hempstead bus terminal, being at the supermarkets, being at going to elementary schools where the moms and the grandparents are waiting for the kids. That's a great place to have conversations with people about issues that are pocketbook issues. And that's what union organizing teaches you. Go where the people are with a powerful message and a solution. And I think that has been what has motivated the LIPC. Analyze the problem, but we always wanted to make sure we had a solution.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very important thing to keep in mind. So it's the idealism, but it's also being practical and pragmatic.
So really it requires that of you. Like there's not much room, there's not much room for ideologuing. Like you can
Right.
have like the ideology and you can be, you can't really be an extremist in the suburbs or on Long Island. Like people have houses here, people pay really high property taxes, and it's, you get the saving grace is that what you look like can't really be the perception of who you are out here to a certain extent, and it's interesting because it allows you the space to, it requires you to be like a ninja with your language, because
Exactly.
you can lose people immediately.
Exactly.
So
That's a very good point.
as
Very good
someone
point.
who's got like abolitionist values, I'm not gonna go and say all that stuff out here. I don't want to get shot.
Well, I think what you're saying is that good organizers know it's not about them.
Mm-hmm.
It's about delivering a message that's accessible to the people that you're talking to. So you're exactly right. I think you have to be you can't allow yourself to be ideological in your own mind and why you're interested in certain things. Yes, but that's internal.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than what you do as a public figure in your organizing. And I think this is one of the, I'm very glad you raised that issue, because I think it reflects how more challenging, or how challenging in its own way, I won't say more, but how challenging in its own way it is to do organizing on Long Island, because unlike waiting in a city for people to come out of a subway,
Yeah.
where, demographically, probably 85% of the people generally agree with you and they might vote for the person you're advocating for if it's an election situation. On Long Island, you can't make any assumptions. You have to really think through not that I want to water down my message, but how do I develop a message that addresses an issue, that has content and punch, but then it has a solution people can see as practical. So I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I do think that sometimes there's a tendency to dismiss suburbia precisely because we do have to be more nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be extreme in our language or in our demands. We have to calibrate to our constituency, and that is very challenging. Yeah. And I think right now the discussion about economic populism is a very good one for us, because when you look at the statistics, this is what I find so fascinating. The country is polarized, and certainly electorally at the presidential level, very polarized. But if you look at public opinion on so many issues, and I'll just use Social Security as an example, like 85% of Republicans not only don't want to see Social Security cut, they want to see it expanded and improved. And not only that, they're okay with wealthier people being taxed more.
Yes.
Now, you'd say, well, that's an urban point of view. No, that's a general point of view across all ideological positions. That's what we can build on. And the fact of the matter is, many of the solutions actually are being offered on the more progressive side.
Right.
But people accept them because, you know what? Those are the solutions. You need revenue. You can't just tax working people.
Yes.
You
all
have
the
to
time.
tax the people who have excess income. So that's to me like the North Star, that maybe we're having we have had some real electoral disappointments, but the fact of the matter is, on many, many key issues, like public education, the public is with us.
Yeah.
We have to deliver the message in a way that people don't feel alienated by. So I think you're absolutely right about that.